Okay, so we've all been there, right? You bring home this absolutely perfect, compact little succulent, and then a few weeks later, it's a tall, kind of goofy-looking, stretched-out thing. What is going on? Well, today we're going to dig into the science of why this happens, and I'll show you exactly how to fix it, and actually turn it into a major win for your plant collection.
Yeah, this is the sight that breaks every succulent owner's heart. That beautiful, tight rosette starts reaching for the sky, and you're just left there thinking, what did I do wrong? But here's the secret. It's not about you failing. It's about your plant trying to survive. So let's get on the same page. On the left, that's the dream. That's the tight, vibrant plant you brought home. On the right, that's the reality for a lot of us who grow indoors. We call this leggy growth, or the fancy term is etiolation. And really, it's just your plant sending out a desperate SOS for one thing it absolutely needs. So what's really going on inside the plant? Look, your succulent isn't weak or dying. It's doing the exact opposite. It's activating a high-stakes, all-or-nothing survival plan. This isn't weakness. It's a genetically programmed sprint for its life.
Now, this whole process has a big science-y name, skotomorphogenesis. It sounds really complex, but it basically just means growth in the dark. Think of it like this. It's the plant's built-in emergency protocol that switches on when it thinks it's been buried alive or is trapped in deep, deep shade.
And yeah, I really want to emphasize, this is not just some passive wilting. It's a powerful, intentional, upward launch. The plant is literally burning through its stored energy reserves to grow as fast as it possibly can, gambling everything on finding a patch of sun.
Let's break down how this works. It's a simple chain reaction, really. First, the plant's sensors detect that light levels are critically low. This triggers a flood of a growth hormone called Gibberellin. Think of Gibberellin as the gas pedal. It goes and finds these other things called delaproteins, which are the brakes, and it just gets rid of them. So what happens when you floor the gas pedal and you've got no brakes? Boom! The stem just takes off.
But here's the really good news. Your plant gives you clues. It'll tell you it's getting desperate long before the major stretching starts. If you learn to read these little signals, you can step in and fix the problem before it even really begins. So here's what you need to look for. First, the obvious one. It'll start leaning, practically lunging towards the window. But look closer. See how the lower leaves start pointing downwards? The plant is trying to flatten itself out, creating a bigger satellite dish to catch every last little photon of light. You'll also see those beautiful, intense colors start to fade, and bigger gaps will appear between the leaves. These are the red flags.
Honestly, that downward-pointing leaf trick is your #1 early warning sign. The moment you see that, you know it's time to act. This is your golden opportunity to give it what it needs before that irreversible stretching really kicks in.
So how do we prevent all this? Well, it's simple, but it's not always easy. We have to give the plant the light it's screaming for. And I'll tell you right now, it's almost certainly a lot more light than you think.
This chart right here is a huge eye-opener. That window that you think of as your sunniest spot, it's probably only delivering about 500 foot candles of light. But look at what a happy little Echeveria actually needs to stay compact and colorful. Over 3,000. That is a massive gap. And that gap is the entire reason our indoor succulents stretch.
3,000 foot candles. Let's just burn that number into our brains. For most of these rosette-forming succulents, that's the bare minimum they need to keep from stretching. If you're giving them anything less, you are fighting a losing battle against their biology. So, the solution for most of us is a good grow light. And here's the perfect recipe. First, you need the right intensity. Hit that 3,000 to 4,000 foot candle mark. Second, you need the right duration. Give it 16 to 18 hours a day to mimic those long summer days it loves. And third, and this is a pro tip, you need the right spectrum. A light that's rich in blue light actually sends a signal to the plant that tells it to stop stretching. All right, time for a little tough love. And this is really important to understand. Once a succulent stem has stretched, it will never unstretch. That part is permanent. The new growth on top can be perfectly compact if you fix the light problem, but that long, leggy stem is there to stay. Which brings us to the fix. But don't you worry, a stretched-out succulent is not a lost cause. Not at all. In fact, it's an opportunity. I'm about to show you how to turn one leggy plant into 3 or 4 or even more new plants. It's a 3-for-1 deal. Part 1 is the beheading. I know, it sounds dramatic. But you're going to take a clean blade and cut the compact head off, leaving about an inch of stem. Now please listen, this is the most important part of the whole process. You have to let that cut end dry out and form a callus. Just leave it on a shelf for a few days. If you plant it when it's fresh and wet, it's just going to rot. Once it's calloused over, you can stick it in some dry soil, and for the love of all that is holy, do not water it until it grows new roots.
Now, do not throw away that old stump. That thing is a baby-making machine. Go ahead and carefully remove any leaves that are left on it. Now that the main growth point is gone, the plant is going to put all its energy into making new babies, or pups, from the little spots where the old leaves were attached. Just move that pot under your new good light and be patient.
And we're still not done. Every single healthy leaf you took off that stem is a potential new plant. It's the same drill. Let the ends callus over for a day or two, and then just lay them on top of some soil. Don't bury them, just set them there, and then basically forget about them. After a few weeks, you'll start to see tiny roots and perfect little baby plants forming right at the base of the leaf. It is so cool.
Okay, one last really critical warning. All of these new pieces, the head, the leaves, the eventual pups, they are babies. They have no sunscreen. You can't just throw them directly under your intense grow light. You have to start them off in bright but indirect light. Then, over 2 to 4 weeks, you slowly and gradually move them into more intense light. If you rush this part, you will fry them. I promise.
And there you go. Let's just step back and look at what you did. You took one stretched out, kind of sad plant, and you've turned it into a perfect new rosette, a mother stump that's about to be covered in new babies, and a whole tray of tiny leaf propagations. That's not a fix, my friend. That's a major upgrade.
So from now on, when you see a stretching succulent, I don't want you to see failure. I want you to see an invitation to a propagation party. You know why it happens, you know how to prevent it, and now you have the exact skills to fix it and multiply your collection. So, really, what's stopping you?